What can you teach us about changing oneself midlife?
Wow. Well, that's what my new book is all about, actually. Lies, All Lies. You have to look at yourself and be able to look at yourself and say, am I happy where I am? Am I doing the things that I wanted to do? Would the child that I was be proud of the adult that I've become? And if that is the case, or if that isn't the case, then you have to say, I've got to make some changes. And how do I make those changes? Well, that's a product of research, investigation, looking into religion, looking into philosophy, looking into your friends and asking them, I've got a problem. I'm drinking too much. What do I do about it? I can't seem to stop. How do I deal with that? Especially, that's why people go to Alcoholics Anonymous, to ask. I realize I have a problem. I don't know how to stop it. Can you help me? So asking for help is a good thing to do at that stage. Self-examination is a good thing to do. Research is a good thing to do. Because I believe, and that's what I say in my book, you can change at any point in your life once you realize that you need to change. To be the person that you wanted to be the person that the child that you were would be proud of. And if you can do that, then you can be a real person. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I watched a young woman do a YouTube video on becoming a better version of yourself, and she wrote it as a character. I think she might have made it a video game character, but she really was saying that she wanted to become a better version of herself.
Good.
And so she thought it'd be easier if she wrote it from this point of view of a character. And I just thought it was fascinating. It was like a half-hour video essay that she did. Do you think some life stages are easier to change ourselves? Or I know you talked about midlife, and this is in your book, Lies, All Lies, right?
It's a midlife crisis.
Okay.
And he's a little young for it. He's in his mid to late 30s.
Oh, yeah.
But still, he's in a position where he has to change. I don't know, I've made major changes in my life, like standing at the blackboard, realizing that I'm not supposed to be here, and made a change, or moving from one country to another. I mean, I lived in Europe for 6 years. I left London after living there 4 years. I made a major change. I made major changes in my relationships. When you come to that place where you think, this relationship is not working out, and it's because of me or because of her or because of him, I mean, whoever it is, I mean, I had a major change in a friend's relationship. He brought about that change. It was his cack-assed idea about what I was doing that I said, we're going to cut it off here. Things happened in your life, and you have to be open to change. Otherwise, you're just sitting there on the couch watching TV.
True. And there are times for that.
Yeah.
And maybe wallowing. And then there's times when it's so painful to be in that situation that you've got to
change.
Get out of that.
But not everybody's got to make those changes. Some people have perfect lives, or they think they have a perfect life, and that's good enough. That's fine. Some people have good lives from start to finish, never have to change. I don't know any of those people, but I imagine there are those people.
Do you think certain areas are easy to change? You said you've lived so many different countries. Is it easier to make a change in LA versus a small town in the South?
Well, that's a good question, because I live in a small town in the South right now, and I'm enjoying it. But I made a major change in the way I lead my life, because I don't have to go to work every day. I can work or not work. People say, are you retired? Well, I retired from teaching, but I didn't retire from writing. So I write when I want to write, and I don't write when I don't want to write. So that's a change in my lifestyle. I would say that it's easier to do outside of LA. LA is good. There's a lot of pressure here. And to be somebody, and to be somebody big in show business or whatever business you're in here, I'm shocked. I lived in LA for over 40 years, but coming back here, every time I come back here, I think, how did I do this? How did I live here? Just driving today, It took me an hour to get to my first place in Westlake Village. The traffic was stop and go all the way out there. To get here was very easy. And that is a pressure that's everywhere in Los Angeles. There's also a pressure I've seen to show, and I just noticed this, people's cars. We define ourselves with our cars. And I see so many more Mercedes, BMWs, Jaguars, big SUVs, Audis, sports cars. I saw a Lamborghini today on the road. We don't see that. We rarely see a BMW or a Mercedes. They're there, but we rarely see them. We see a lot of pickup trucks. People don't, they show themselves here, they have to have a certain veneer, and the car is part of the veneer. We don't see that so much in the South, or where I am in the South. So, yeah.
Sure.
I'm more comfortable there. I don't feel a lot of pressure there.
Sure, and I think certain ages lend to needing to compete, and also certain cultures,
Yes.
I think, have a lot of pressure on being able to show one another up.
Yeah.
And show that, kind of I'm a first among equals.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Well,
I think
that
that's
happens
what's
in
left.
families too.
Yeah,
Families and
absolutely.
social groups and professions, and I wouldn't want to be. Right now, it's a very tough time to be in show business. It's very tough because of the shrinking of the streaming industry. Or if you're in finance, something like that, it's a very tough time to be that, and you have to work really, really hard. It might not be good for you. You might not be good at it. I mean, there's a lot of pressure going on here.
But on the flip side too, I think there's people that they can't not compete, and that's just in their
Right.
DNA.
That's fine,
There's
too.
nothing wrong with that. And I think it really, maybe you need to experience some of that to realize you don't want it or you're done with it.
Conflict is necessary in every situation. And if you have conflict in that kind of a situation, that can either bring out the best in you or you retire. I mean, by retire, I mean go away from it. So if you're in a profession where there's a lot of pressure on you to succeed, or you feel pressure, or you need to be competitive, that's fine. But if you don't need to be competitive and you're in a competitive situation, maybe it's time to change your situation.
And is that something that when you felt that you wanted to leave Los Angeles for whatever your reasons were, did you take sort of a deep sigh of relief? It felt like a natural part of your journey?
Yes, I was good with that, and it was a natural part of my journey. My wife had a problem with it because she was a very high performing TV producer and was ready to retire, but didn't realize how different it was going to be. She likes to say, I like North Carolina, but I left a big life in Los Angeles. She was the executive producer of E! News at one time, and then the senior producer on Inside the Issues with Alex Cohen on Spectrum, and left that. And, she knew everybody in town and that stuff, and we had a pretty big life, and she had friends and family here, and so did I, as a matter of fact. One of the reasons I'm here now is to see friends and family. So it was harder for her to make that adjustment. But now she has, and she's enjoying it more. She hasn't come to the total acceptance of the new life that I have, but she will, because she is now exploring more people and things to do. So it's okay, I'm done.
And lastly, and then we'll just end it here, but the addiction to adrenaline. I think too, being in LA, there's so many adrenaline highs.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Whether it's a car chase on the news, or just, the highs and lows are very, very noticeable here. How is that to be somewhere where maybe it's not that way?
Well, I like to say that I live in a development that's 3 miles from the University of North Carolina. From that development, it's a mature development. It's about 25 years old. We live in a very nice house. It's walkable to a coffee shop. There's a town square where there's just about everything you need. 4 restaurants. There's a pediatric clinic, there's a dental clinic, there's a dermatology clinic, there's a bar, there's all kinds of stuff there. There's a movie theater. I can walk to there. On the other hand, if I get in the car and I drive across the highway that leads into where we are, in less than 5 minutes, I'm in the country. So I can decompress in the country. I can go actually in the other direction, 5 minutes in the country. In another direction, I can be downtown Chapel Hill with all the students and the university and everything else, if I want to do that. So I have those opportunities. I can do whatever I want to do. So I feel more comfortable there because I can make those choices. If you're in Los Angeles, to get to the country, how long would it take you to do that?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it'd take you an hour at least to get out there to past Woodland Hills into Calabasas. You probably have to get to Calabasas to see country. Don't have to do that in North Carolina. Actually, I look across the street. There's a park across the street. It's really a woods, just right across the street. So it's different. It's calmer, and I'm able to focus. So what I do is I walk up to the cafe. I do a couple of things. I check out my email, et cetera, and then I write for a couple of hours. And I know people there, and I'm able to talk if I want to talk, or if I say I need to work, I work. And then I go home and I have my lunch, and I have my day. I can do whatever I want to do. This is a good thing.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, life has turned out pretty good.
That's great.
And I have my grandson.
Oh, nice.
And I'll show you a picture of him if you want to see that, but that's a separate issue.
What if he wants to be a writer?
I would recommend him starting right now or doing that. If he wants to do that, whatever he wants to do, I'll encourage him. But he has to really want to be a writer. It's a tough life. It's a very up and down life. Right now he wants to be a trucker. He's nice. 2.5.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So there's that.